Hello cellos, today we're going to be working on page 21 in the Essential Elements book 2. And the first exercise on this page is actually a theory exercise that you should complete with your pencil. You're working on intervals on this page, and for this exercise I want you to remember that when you're counting intervals, you are basically going up or down from a given note and counting one interval for each note of the scale. So for example, the one that is given, you're going from F to G. That is a second because it is from one note of the scale to the next note of the scale. If you go to the third note of the scale, that would be a third. If you go to the fourth note of the scale, that would be a fourth. So you're basically just alternating lines and spaces and counting every note up or down. And the larger the number, the more space there is between those two notes. So as you're doing this, remember that you can go either up or down unless otherwise indicated. And if you are doing an odd numbered interval, so a third or a fifth or a seventh, the notes will either both be lines or they will both be space notes. And if you're doing an even numbered interval, so a second, a fourth, or a sixth, or an octave, then one of the notes will be a line and one of the notes will be a space. So if they give you a line note, then you know the other note is going to be a space if it is an even numbered interval. So I hope that makes sense to you. This is some pretty important theory. Theory is sometimes challenging to understand, but it is really important to know as musicians. So please go ahead and take your pencil and complete that exercise. And then when you're ready, we'll go ahead and move on to the playing exercise. This should be review to you. Actually, the violins are learning a new note on their E string. So we're going to be playing the second finger note F natural on the D string, and we're also going to be learning the key signature for F major. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to play number 95, which is Let's Read F Natural. Again, this is review for you. Use those same notes plus E to play number 96, which is technique tracks. Exercises, especially if they are review exercises, remember one of the things that you need to be focusing on is playing those notes in tune. So if you're playing something that seems like it's a little bit on the easier side, you can put more of your attention to listening, adjusting, matching, moving those fingers if you need to make sure that the note is in tune with the background and that it sounds like the notes should sound. So that is always a constant challenge whenever we play our stringed instrument. So whenever something seems easy, figure out what is a skill that you can really be working on through the easier exercise. Next one is going to be the F major scale. We're going to start on the fourth finger on the C string. That is the note F. The F major scale has one flat in the key signature. So you'll notice that the key signature, which is what you find between the clef sign and the time signature at the beginning or right after the clef sign, there is a flat in the key signature, and that's always going to be B flat if there's only one of them. That is the key of F major, and it just tells you that all the B's in that piece, unless otherwise indicated, are going to be B flat. So here we go, F major scale. And then finally, number 98 is Theme from Violin Concerto. This is a melody by Beethoven. Beethoven is a very famous German composer. And a violin concerto is a solo piece for a violin soloist that is accompanied by a whole orchestra. So if you were to see this concerto performed, there would be one violinist standing in front of the orchestra playing the solo part, and then the orchestra would be playing the accompaniment. We are only going to play just the main theme of it. I would really encourage you to find a recording of this piece so you can hear what it sounds like in context. And there's a lot more to it than just this melody. This is the first movement of the Beethoven Violin Concerto, and it is a really beautiful piece. So try and find a recording of it, and we're going to just play the theme. So here we go, number 98, Theme from Violin Concerto, which is in F major. Make sure you play the B flats. So that's kind of a simple melody, but very, very beautiful. And remember that when you have a key signature, that tells you what your finger patterns are going to be. So the key signature of B flat tells you that you're going to play the second finger on the G string and the second finger on the D string as well. And on the next page, we will learn another B flat that you play with your backward extension. So you can look forward to learning a new finger pattern on page 22. Good luck and happy practicing.